Hello on this beautiful summer's day and welcome to A Brief History Mystery. So we are down here near Ipswich to do a video on the Rendlesham Forest UFO incident, and then, wouldn't you know it, we saw our own. So it was 12 last night, so July 17th. The object appeared just from the bushes here over my left shoulder, very high up, a bright light. It headed in that direction in a pretty much straight line and disappeared behind the trees just over my shoulder. I did get it on video. It's not the greatest video in the world, unfortunately. It's like every other UFO video. It's kind of grainy. It's not very good. I took it on my iPhone 11, I think it is, and I did the best I could. But actually, to be fair, I spent the first 5 seconds going, what's that? So anyway, here's the video. We're going to have a brief discussion with the 3 witnesses, myself and 2 others that actually saw the object, about what we think it could or might not have been. And then we have a video of our immediate reaction, followed up by a more close-up, zoomed-in look at the actual object. If you're new to the channel, please like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. Really helps us out.
Planes don't go across the skyline first, do they? No. It's got to be something in orbit or something. It's on a clear, straight trajectory, isn't it? Yeah, that's what I was just thinking.
Right, so last night, 12 we saw this freaking light. So, shall we start off with what it wasn't?
I'll start, if
Go
you
on,
don't mind.
Do it.
Yeah, we saw this light because these two obviously are on the channel. You possibly don't know me.
Yeah, you should subscribe to his channel because it's very good.
Impartial person, a bit of a skeptic.
Bit.
A lot of a skeptic. But yes, we did see something very unusual last night. We're camping, we're at a campsite. We come down to the Rendlesham Forest video, have a bit of a walk, have a few beers. It was about midnight last night. Sitting around just before going to bed, and basically something flew over, and my initial reaction was helicopter, because it seemed sort of that size and that height, but it was a yellow light, and you know, you never see a helicopter completely lit up. The whole thing was just sort of a yellow light. It wasn't a searchlight. Whatever it was a yellow light mainly.
Whereas the searchlight, you can see the beam off it, can't you, as well? You can see where it's aiming at normally, and you could see nothing. But mainly, it was completely silent. Yeah,
there was no sound, so instantly you rule out helicopter because you can hear a helicopter a mile away. But it looked that sort of height and thing. And then, obviously, next thing you jump to is an aeroplane. But it wasn't an aeroplane, because an aeroplane is way higher. You can clearly spot an aeroplane. It's got a green and a red and white flashing lights, and it's a little speck generally because it's really high.
Yeah, 37,000 feet, yeah.
And this looked much lower. But we've had sort of little discussions about it, trying to work out about how, that's the hard thing to do, obviously, from the ground, work out how high it is. But it clearly had an arc, a curvature. So even though it looked to be flying at sort of helicopter height, it was probably a lot higher, because you could see the curvature of its flight path. It was dead straight, from not visible to completely across the sky to, and the other was possibly between 1 and 2 minutes.
I think, yeah,
about 1.5 minutes.
Yeah, no more than 2.
No more than 2.
It appeared to be travelling
less than 1.
very quickly and silently.
In the video, you can actually hear us. You can hear you two talking, and you're 7, maybe 8 feet away from me at the time, when I'm trying to capture this thing in the. I apologise about it. I should say as well, in the video, it looks like it's flashing, but that's because there are trees above me, and it was going through the leaves.
The video
to
is
get in the
basically
way.
poor quality. It's night. We know cameras aren't great at night at all. It was fully zoomed in, so the actual.
I kept losing it as well.
The video of it is absolutely terrible, and so you're going to have to go from like reports of it. And it didn't appear to be a satellite or in a high orbit at all, because you see satellites go by and they're so distant and tiny, and
And emits so little light. This was the most luminous thing in the sky. It was
very
brighter than any of the stars,
brighter
or
than
at
any
least as
planet,
bright
stars,
as any of the stars in the night sky.
so,
I think it was far brighter than anything. So that was the main reason why we saw it, was because I saw it in the corner of my eye.
Because of its luminosity, yes.
And then I was sort of like, what is that? And that's another reason why the video's so poor, because I spent about 15 seconds just looking at it going, what's that? And
And then
then
suddenly you twig to record.
I sort of thought, oh God, I need to get this on tape, yeah.
Yeah, and unfortunately,
So-
flicking to the camera's best settings for night mode in that
Took a
situation
while.
isn't the easiest, yeah.
So I think we've been able to rule out what it's not quite easily, but we're having a real struggle thinking what it might be.
Yeah.
Any thoughts, guys?
Well, because my first thought was there is a meteor shower at the moment. I'd actually saw a meteor earlier in the night, but meteors are quite clear. They have this light, I think they go very bright and then they go dull again. So it's not that.
You see them burn up in the atmosphere, don't you? You see a trail,
Yeah.
Yep.
and they're quick, and and meteors are very fast, aren't they? It wasn't travelling at sort of meteor speed. It was a steady, consistent pace, wasn't it? It wasn't like the meteor.
No, it was nothing. And yeah, and the light was constant.
Yeah,
It didn't change.
It didn't have a trail of water vapour behind it like a comet. It wasn't an asteroid burning up on entry into the atmosphere. There was no trail of debris behind it. It wasn't a commercial airline pilot, reduced the intensity of the lights, and not
There's no
flashing, not
flashiness
green,
to it.
not red, not white. It wasn't a helicopter, no sound. It seemed the arc, the parabola, it seemed to do such an arc across us, over the top of us, and then back out of sight. It seemed like it was doing something in relation to the curvature of the Earth, which says that it's much higher up
Orbit.
than level to the ground, as when we just had a helicopter
But
come past.
due
You can
to
see
the
it as
brightness-
a virtually parallel.
Yeah, it was so bright
flight
though, wasn't it?
But due to the brightness and the sort of size of it, it appeared much lower. But like you say, because of the arc, that would indicate it was higher.
Yeah, the brightness
So the
makes you think
size
it's
of it
low.
must be. It's really hard to judge the size of it. If it was that high,
High.
it must be a big thing.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah,
big. It was big, wasn't it?
It must be.
So I don't think meteor. It can't have been. We don't think
Because they
helicopter. We
don't follow
don't
the
think plane.
curvature of the Earth, do they?
Usual suspects. Drone. Things
No.
really freaking quick.
No, drone can't move that speed. What can drones do? A few hundred miles an hour tops, probably.
If that, I mean, even military ones.
I'm saying like
that
military,
quick, yeah.
top spec, what we know of is capable. We can't do more than. Yeah.
The other usual suspect is a lantern, but
No.
it was too fast. Like I say, it was gone. You
see-
see them for miles. You can see them for miles going, but you see them for hours. They're so slow.
It's obviously.
There's no wind. It's a summer's day. There's no wind.
It must be a weather balloon, obviously. Everything's a weather balloon.
obviously
so
it's
you
a
can't
weather balloon
explain.
with a-
That's
with
it,
a
yeah,
light.
weather balloon.
And with a rocket engine on it because it was so fast. A rocket-powered weather balloon.
Must be it.
Oh, we've solved it. It wasn't unidentified after all. It's properly and the other thing is, it was so unusual that it's one of the pretty much. We've been to Rendlesham Forest today to do a video for next week, and it's all we've talked about half the day. Is what it was.
Yeah, because we literally can't think of what it was. It literally was an unidentified flying object.
And I know we've come down here to talk about UFOs, and then we go see one, and there will be
The
people that go.
coincidence, yeah, massive coincidence.
People are going to be rubbing their
Generally
chin.
not a believer in coincidence myself, so I will understand, people's hesitance to that. But sometimes I think the world works in mysterious ways, doesn't it? And sometimes something you're not expecting.
Because what we're down here for, maybe we're just more aware of it, maybe we're just like half ready for it, sort of thing.
Well, it's probably partly to do with the fact that you are looking at the night sky when you're out.
When you're
camping in the
camping,
field.
yeah, you're sitting out and the sky's above you, and that's how often do you sit and stare at the sky for hours on end?
Yeah.
Only pretty much when you're camping.
And because there's this meteor shower that's supposed to be over the next couple of nights, I was sat there looking up, to be honest. I was looking up waiting for meteors.
Yep, there we go, recording.
Come all the way to Rendlesham to sort of see if I've experienced a UFO, and then we just sat there and a weird light just went over our heads.
Yep.
But honestly, it went from right over there in the horizon on the sky, and then within 60 seconds it was gone right over by the trees and was completely gone.
It was as bright as a star, if not
moving
brighter.
really
moving quicker than any commercial airline I've ever seen, or any aeroplane I've ever seen moving.
There's no flickering. It was bright enough that I caught it. I wasn't even really looking, and I saw it in the corner of my eye. It was bright enough that it was really going. There's no flickering or flashing lights at all. I've got a little bit of video of it, but obviously on my phone it's not great. But I think all three of us would agree that was genuinely
Unusual.
weird. We've come all this bloody way and we haven't even got to Rendlesham Forest yet. We've seen a UFO. But yeah, it was a solid white light, slightly off. That just travelled, like I say, quickly. I don't know how far the distance it was, but the speed was more that what threw me than anything else. How quick it was travelling.
Yeah, it's quicker than I've seen anything moving across the sky.
So even you said that there must maybe be something in orbit, but if it was something in orbit like a satellite, which we've seen before,
Yeah.
it was real. I've seen the International Space Station, so I tried to tell my kids that it was Santa. So and I've seen the International Space Station. It's probably 10 times duller. This was at least 10 times brighter than anything I've ever seen like that before.
Yeah. Yep.
There you go.
Truly amazed.
We've seen a UFO. And we haven't even got to Rendlesham Forest. That's the whole point of coming.
Never mind. You can't plan these things.
Yeah, but please like and subscribe. Follow.
Moving with some speed, that is.
That is actually going very fast. Planes don't go across the sky that fast, do they?
No.
It's got to be something in orbit or something. It's on a clear, straight trajectory, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking.